Gang 3421 podcast. I am the one man gang, and this. Oh, wait a minute. No. My bad. I'm the Vanilla Gorilla, and this is.
One man gang.
So, eventful week.
You ain't kidding.
The last couple podcasts, we've been starting off with the coronavirus updates, and things are beginning to open up a little bit, at least here in Delaware. I don't know if that's
Good or bad?
economically pressured or.
Oh, most likely, I would think.
I mean, that's me too, but yeah.
Abdul,
Everywhere.
Market Tech, what's going on?
Yeah, everywhere that you look, all you see is the more things open up, the more cases pop up.
Right.
So, I know the House just passed a second stimulus bill that Trump and the Republicans already said was dead on arrival in the Senate. It included help for small businesses, unemployment to continue through January of 2021.
That kind of puzzles me in itself. Like, they want to open Delaware up next month, but they want to keep the unemployment going until January 2021, which tells me that they think this is...
So the logic behind it is people that lost their jobs or businesses that went out of business or whatever, they have, people that are on unemployment or whatever, they'll be able to survive. Or, I mean, can you survive on $600 a week? Maybe, but at least it's giving them some help throughout. So I think it's more that they realize a lot of people lost their jobs. There's businesses that closed and may never open again. So it helps them push through. And unfortunately, that's not going to pass. Just politically, Republicans want things back open and the economy get back to normal. Because if it doesn't, he's really not getting reelected.
Well, the issue to me becomes, if you open everything up and people are dying, what money's going to go back into the economy? You know what I mean?
Right. When you have to stop and shut everything down again, and you're worse off than you were before, the first time. So I think it's a little bit of a catch-22. I think the rush, from my understanding, at least in Delaware, it's a open things little by little, not just open everything up. I don't know that the mandatory masks thing is getting that lifted anytime soon. Right. Same with anything else.
That's fine. I feel like at this point you got to kind of, slowly go into it instead of rushing back into things. If we rush back into it, that's where you're going to see all the problems. And plus, I think it was last week I sent you an article where they said countries that have reopened have had a spike in coronavirus cases. So, the proof is already there. You know what I mean? So,
except for people who don't believe in proof. You know what I mean? Like, you got
alternative facts believers.
Yeah, Eric Trump just literally came out yesterday and said coronavirus is just a hoax that the Democrats invented, and it'll go away as soon as there's an election, which is just
so these people dying was just faking it, just
retarded to say. Like, come on, man. Like,
or people died just to say
what? Why would people in other countries be dying from coronavirus for our like right. That's just stupid. That shows you how idiotic these people are. And then there's people who believe it.
Yeah, well, of course.
And that's sad.
Listen, which one's sadder? Putting disinfectants in your body or believing this? Which one's worse? You make your pick.
I don't think that you can distinguish the idiocy in between. But yeah, so that's not gonna spend a lot of time on coronavirus. It just we're at where we're at, and hopefully
I will say though, for all gun people out there, because if you've been watching, you know I'm a bit of a gun enthusiast. Some of the websites like Palmetto State Armory and things of that nature, they used to have a warning sign or a disclaimer saying, "Hey, it might take a little more time to get your orders because of the coronavirus or what have you." Palmetto State did not have that on their website today. So I don't know if that means things are getting a little bit better. A local gun store here that I was at on Saturday, they have more stock in now. I mean, they're fully stocked compared to how they were before.
Oh yeah, I see toilet paper and paper towels now. Like I still can't find like Lysol wipes or anything.
You know what's funny though is there's people who have brands that they like. I'm not gonna mention any names, but there's people who have brands that they like, and you know some of those brands that they like aren't back in. I mean, they'll go to something else, of course, because it's survival mode. But it's funny seeing people, oh, they don't have this or they don't have that one, you know. But you know, I see some things, I guess, improving that might give a glimmer of hope or what have you, and then there's some things that are the same, you know. So
Yeah, I mean that. But again, those places that are opening, is that economic or medical? You know, are they opening up the beaches in Delaware because the coronavirus is no longer a threat? No, not at all. Like
there's people.
I haven't heard that from any reliable, legitimate source. I think it's all economic pressure being put on these people, and which is unfortunate because it's costing people lives.
Yeah, and there's people down at the beach, no mask on or whatever. You know, of course you can't really. You know, I don't know what the crowd looked like. I didn't see it myself. But
I think it's one picture.
One picture.
It was pretty
Okay.
packed. I mean, there was people with masks on. There people.
So social distancing is out the window.
Yeah.
So do I still have to do it at Wawa? Because it makes me mad. I can't use that one machine next to the other. I gotta sit and wait. But no, I mean, some of this is just some people are handling this the right way. Some people are absolutely ridiculous with the way they're handling it. And then there's some people that's maybe even overly, you know, cautious.
Oh, there's people that are in the there's people that don't care and say, you know what? I think there was a story about a guy, one of those Trump supporters, that believed that it was a hoax. The same, you know, because obviously he was being told it was a hoax. Man, and there's no such. He contracted it and wrote like a 4 or 5 page letter or something to a newspaper. It was like, never mind, my bad. Like,
this is real.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
and that's what it takes. And I think initially I said there's a lot of people that won't take it seriously until it happens to them or somebody that they know or care about.
I don't know if you remember in the beginning they were saying a lot of celebrities were being paid to say that they had it or what have you. You know, I don't know anybody that can pay somebody who's already rich to do something against their
which is just
will,
stupid. Just like they don't have any benefit to that. Because you had what we even talked about it in the one podcast where we said Idris Elba had it.
Yeah.
Again, he's in England. What benefit does that have for anyone in the United States?
No,
for him to be paid to say, "Oh, I have it."
Right.
Just dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's coronavirus 2020.
Yeah, pretty much the same place we were last week, wasn't it? Right?
I mean, I think so. I think there's more stuff opening, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a threat anymore.
Chinese food place around the corner from my house is open again. I'm not eating there though.
Mine have always been open, so. But
Szechuan hot block. So, unfortunately, I missed the MJ documentary last week again, man. But I am tuned in tonight. But you gotta understand, I get up early for work, and sometimes I just don't have the energy to stay up.
I would have to say those two
Were the best
best two.
Now, is this where they mentioned the Karl Malone thing? Where what Scottie Pippen said to Karl Malone or something?
No. So this was, at least in the '98 part, they did the Bulls Hornets series, which is I think
LJ and Alonzo.
No, the Hornets had BJ. They had They had Anthony Mason, Glenn Rice, Vlade Divac,
Okay.
and David Phelps. I think was the
David Phelps.
Bobby Phills, maybe.
Oh, Bobby Phil's the one
Yeah.
that died in racing a car.
I think so.
So they also had that light skinned guy that was a point guard. I can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forget his name. The one that really cried when he heard about Bobby Phills. David something. David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly. But so the 98 they did that. And they kind of showed a lot more of Mike, like, talking shit to Scott Burrell and like, yo, I'm not gonna lie.
Lori, what's going on, Lori?
Hey,
Good to
Lori.
see you.
Yo, that you could see why Michael Jordan was worried about how he would look. Like, he's calling the dude a hoe. He said, make the free throw, hoe. Like, and it's his teammate. He said, come on, you bitch. Like,
Okay.
even I was like, yo, I would have hit Mike.
Right. ESPN put up an article saying that Mike is exactly who I thought he was. So.
Scotty Burrell said, and they interviewed him present day. He said, you know what? I appreciated all he did. I was never mad. It didn't make me upset. He was pushing me to be better. So what I would say is it depends on your personality. And like the whole big thing is Michael's leadership style good or bad? So what I would say is depending on your personality, like Michael said, he said, look, he said, man, I went out of my way to try to get Scotty Burrell to fight me. Like, that's why I was doing it. I wanted him to fight me, but in a good way. Like, you know, so they talked about the Steve Kerr house. You know, they were playing rough in practice, and Steve Kerr, like, forearm shivered Mike in the chest, so Mike hit him.
You forgot a part. What happened was he said he felt like Phil Jackson was riding him, calling these little itty bitty fouls.
Right, tic-tac fouls.
And then he fouled Steve Kerr and said, now that's a foul. Then Steve Kerr hit him in the chest. So it was a reaction. Now, I didn't see the foul, obviously.
Right, I mean, no.
But I'm assuming that he fouled him in a way that if somebody fouled you on the court like that right now, you'd probably be ready to go at it.
But I will tell you that if you've played basketball for any length of time, that's happened. That's happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, somebody just starts calling little bullshit ass fouls. You know, in the street, you call them on yourself.
Right.
You call them for yourself, and you playing somebody one-on-one, and they like, foul, just to get the ball back. Yo, then I hit him and say, nah, that's a foul.
There you go, yeah.
So, hey, that's basketball. That's just something that's happened to everybody that's played basketball.
And
Steve Kerr stood up for himself and forearmed Mike in the chest.
Yeah.
And Mike
punched
him in the face. Which, okay, I don't even see why Mike got thrown out of practice, to be honest.
You're right.
You play.
You're right.
That's just
I
what
agree.
it is.
Yeah.
You know,
Both
somebody
should have been thrown out.
you forearm me in the chest, I'm gonna hit you too.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
So, so they went on that, and then they kind of ran that into the whole Scotty Burrell, calling him a hoe, like telling him, man, you ain't made a shot. Oh, you made one shot. Oh, okay, you made one shot tonight. And then, just on and on about that. Mainly, and Mike, for what it's worth, he explained his position. He said, look, man, that's the way I was, and if you wanted to go on that ride with me, cool. If not, you don't have to.
Right.
But we gonna go on the ride because we gonna win. And you know, I think the point to this, everybody's debating. Is his like I said, is his leadership style good, bad? They're even comparing like LeBron's leadership style to him. Completely different people. If they were comparing Kobe's leadership style, I think they would have been like, okay, yeah, well, Kobe was exactly like that too. I've seen Kobe in practice forearming some, like his teammates, like putting his elbow in their face and just doing pretty much the same type of stuff. So,
regardless if it's comparative or not, is it right or is it wrong? You know what I mean? Like that, I think that's more why it's being brought up kind of as a big deal. Once again, we talked about this last week, about Mike was hard to find flaws with when you talked about him as far as basketball was concerned. So what do you go to? You go to his personal life, the gambling, whatever. Was it a hit on his father
Right.
You know what I mean? Because of a gambling debt. Of course you go there because you can't find anything else about him. I think anybody that's squeaky clean, you like, okay, let's talk about LeBron in a different sense. You don't really hear nothing bad about LeBron personal, right? So now, don't get me wrong, the rinky dink fouls that he catch, they do annoy me. But that's something the flopping. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's something that you can talk about, and they'll come up with other things to talk about
Right.
too. When you're on top like that, that's what it is,
So the answer, even being a Jordan fan for me, is we're talking about 22 years ago.
Yes.
22 years ago, you can't do the same type of shit with your kids. You can't do the same type of stuff that schools change.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
for that, so for the time period, was it right? Sure. Was it bullying? Maybe. I think it's right depending on your personality. Scotty Burrell, like I said, he is adamant that he had no problems with it. He appreciated what Mike was doing. And some of the other dudes, like even Will Perdue, he said it best. He said, now don't get me wrong. Was he an asshole? Yup, sure was. But did it work? Also, yup. So, and he's another one that Mike actually went to blows with in practice.
But here, I heard about the Will Perdue thing first, and I heard that they grabbed Will Perdue before he could
That was
respond.
Horace Grant's
Now I'm just telling you what I heard. I mean, I wasn't
upset
there,
ass.
but you made me forget my point about bringing that up.
No, you brought it up the other week, and
No.
I told you I went back and I watched it, and it wasn't. Oh, it's they don't want nobody to touch Mike because he's pristine. This is our meal ticket. Let's make sure not, who you want to say, Will Perdue or Michael Jordan? Because Will Perdue ain't winning you that many games than Jordan.
I hear you.
So it wasn't they were protecting him because he's Super Mike. It was more, look, shit.
We need Mike.
We need Mike more than we need Will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, it would be personality wise. Like, I don't think, and also you have to understand, he didn't ride people like that didn't need it. Like, they had Robert Parrish on their team, dude who already won.
Parrish was on the Bulls?
Parrish was on the Bulls. Yeah.
I missed that. Lord have mercy.
Robert Parrish was on the Bulls. Obviously.
Did he gain playing time?
He was really tail end of his career back then. So it was John Sally,
I remember John
Parrish,
playing for him.
Dennis Scotty, guys like that. Guaranteed Mike didn't ride them because they didn't need to. So he only rode those people that needed it. They never had won anything. Sally won championships. Parrish won championship. Dennis, Scotty, like, what's the need for it? So I agree. I love Jordan, but I agree. He's an asshole, and I think he's a bigger asshole now that I've seen this documentary.
Well,
doesn't change how whether I think how great he was. I'm like, hey,
I'm glad you can say that because, we've had this conversation before. My second favorite player of all time is Kevin Garnett. My number one is Dominique. And Kevin Garnett, I thought he was great. And then I started hearing stories about how he talked to people on the court. And I'm like, okay, do I love him as a basketball player? Absolutely. As a person, I don't even know if I would want to meet him after hearing some of the stories about him. Which they tell you a lot of times, don't ever grow up and meet your heroes.
right.
Because you never know what you're going to get on that end, when you do meet them.
I heard two other Michael Jordan asshole stories. One was Mark Henry that I just heard today.
Oh yeah, I heard that too. Vlad TV.
TV, where he was like, yeah, Mike was like, who
Who are you?
are you?
Right.
Like, who are you?
But
And then he
Mark
figured
Henry
it out.
said he got the apology.
Right, no. So
What-
Mark, like, he was like, you know, you just address stuff like that. And he said, once I told Mike who he was, Mike was cool. He
was cool.
apologized, invited me to his birthday party on All Star Weekend. I went there, had a great time. I took my ass home.
Well, have you heard the Chameleonaire story?
Yeah, but that is bullshit. I actually watched that. The dude is laughing the whole way through. Like, you could tell he made that shit up. Like, he's like, I'm like, yo, I'm about to. And that was complete, like, nigga, you making this whole story up.
Think so?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, absolutely. That's all I
don't
felt.
Take it at face value. You know?
Nah, he was lying his ass off.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Well, supposedly there was other people there. Unfortunately, you know, they haven't told their side of the story.
Exactly. How many years
So
ago
it's
did this happen and ain't nobody ever brought it up but you? And you laughing while you saying it. With this little smirk on your face. Come on, man.
I don't know.
Allen Iverson. He was getting interviewed.
Uh,
He said the first time he ever met Mike was in the hallway at the All-Star game when Iverson was a rookie.
okay.
And he was like, Mike, they were, you know, walking by each other, whatever. And Mike was like, what up, you little bitch? And that's the first thing he said to him. Now, you know, Iverson, to this day, right now, will say Michael's the greatest of all time. My idol growing up.
And he got him with his best move.
Say, yo, he's another one that says the dude has like an aura when you see him. And he said the second time he talked to him, Allen was telling him, you know, how much, you know, in his words, he was like, yo, I was telling Mike how much I rock with him and blah, blah, blah. And Mike was like, no, you don't. Because if you rock with me, you wouldn't have crossed me up like that.
Yeah, I heard that story too. But Iverson, you know, and I actually gained some respect for Iverson. I loved Iverson as a basketball player. My team, if you don't know, is actually the Sixers now. It wasn't when I was younger. Of course, it was the Hawks because I'm a huge Dominique fan. But Iverson had said, look, people need to calm down about me shaking Jordan or whatever. I put my greatest move on him, and it worked. The greatest move I had. You know, so that's...
he said, I knew when I came into the league, every great player I was going to try my move out on. He said, that's my best move. So I'm going to try it on everybody.
Right.
From Jordan on down. So
I don't see it as a big deal. You get one move on somebody. That's, you know,
Yeah,
who won the championship,
who won the game.
Right. You know.